We are every day inundated by sound. It is always around us, an ever-pervasive force in our lives. It binds us together, whether in the language we speak, the music we listen to, or even within the throes of anger and passion that we experience. From the moment we are born until death, the world is in motion and we, with it, are moving. That's why Mushishi both shocked and amazed me. There is a subtle stillness that translates into silence throughout. Every moment of action is counterbalanced by another of silence and inaction. It is at first haunting and unsettling, like a hazy dream, but the longer I watched, the more enthralling and calming it became. Almost as if I had entered a trance, I learned to love Mushishi not just for what was happening, but also for what wasn't. Even in the first moments of the very first episode, we are introduced to it. A vast silence that only lasts mere moments. Muted in both sound and tone, we are introduced to Mushishi, to Ginko. The only sounds are of the birds and wind, muted by the dense emptiness of the forested area he is traversing. It evokes ideas of solitude and loneliness, of something that once existed but is now but a fleeting memory of a memory. A connection between the past and present. It is replaced by discordant and unsettling notes, often used to emphasize the ethereal connection. The ambiance is breached and becomes all the more glaring with continued repetition. The moments of stillness feel unusually distended, bloated beyond a reasonable measure. But the longer I watched, the more evident the reason became. To give an appreciation for the moments of repose interspersed. Silence is often placed into the calmer moments of retrospection for Ginko, on both himself and the predicament the other characters find themselves in. The animation is also injected with this emptiness. Scenes of leaves swaying in the wind, everything behind it fading into dulled blacks and grays. But despite this emptiness, it never feels like a void. Colors are purposefully kept dark and almost feel brooding until you get to a few specific moments in any given episode. Suddenly, almost as if conjured into existence from nothing, yellows and reds and blues and every color in between explodes onto the screen. I was more than once left speechless, but just as quickly as the colors came, they slipped back into a patchwork of muted colors. The exultant feeling nothing more than a memory. Throughout, there is a gentle push to find the meaning in each moment as we live, to understand that not everything that is empty is devoid of meaning or unfulfilled potential. Mushishi is a perfect example of the Japanese philosophy of Ma, which can roughly be translated as gap, space, or emptiness. Ma is the idea that nothing is without meaning, even the greatest of spaces. There is value even in the smallest of things. A house, in the most general of terms, is a building with 4 walls, but it is the space that fills it that makes it a home. A vase is not just the material that it is made from, but also the inherent emptiness within. Mushishi and Ginko more specifically exude this emptiness that make a whole. Throughout the show, there is a quiet air of sadness surrounding Ginko. Even though he often finds himself near both humans and Mushi alike, he is never fully accepted. He helps many and gives them back the happiness that was stolen from them, but he is unable to do the same for himself. There is a gap that he cannot breach. He is the silent connective tissue that both binds and separates the two worlds. For this, he is seen as an oddity by other humans. They cannot understand Ginko because he no longer lives completely in their world. That's probably why Ginko and Mushishi are so dear to me. I see a lot of Ginko within myself. The constant struggle of wanting to be accepted by others pitted against my own insecurities of self-worth. I struggle with who I am and what that even means nearly daily. That even extends to this yell into the void of trying to understand what I want out of life. To find something to fill the emptiness, the maw, within myself. And I think Mushishi has maybe helped me understand that I've been looking at it wrong. I had become so focused on the idea that I needed to fill the void, that I needed to fix what I perceived was wrong with me, that I didn't even realize that what was actually happening within myself wasn't even something to think about as wrong. Mushishi helped me realize something about myself that I had always kind of known deep down. Something I had pushed away my entire life, leaving a gaping hole where it should have been. I am Ace. It's been something I've struggled coming to terms with. I had a hard time deciding whether I should even include this. I didn't really go into writing this script expecting this to be the end result. It wasn't my intention to make this about myself, but I couldn't really explain why Mushishi and Ginko are so important to me without talking about this as well. This anime showed me that it's okay to be myself, to accept the parts of me that others might not understand or even want to understand. I learned to appreciate the Ma within myself. So, thank you, Mushishi. Thank you for helping me understand myself a little bit better. And thank you, whoever is out there in the void listening to me. It really does mean the world to me.